would come anyway. So.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to World Hoppers. Today, we're going to be chatting about some fantasy books that we think deserve more love, whether that be that we think they're underhyped and therefore aren't talked about very much, or we think that they are underrated so that their ratings are really low and we think more people should like this. So I think it's kind of fun to start with that one when you see average ratings where you're thinking, why does nobody like this? I thought it was good. So, Jesse, do you want to kick it off?
Ooh, okay. Well, just put me on the spot here.
No
That's fine.
pressure.
I had a good one for this that I was going to bring up for underhyped, but it also fits into the underrated. And Upon a Burning Throne by Ashok K. Banker. I don't have any of my books with me; they're in my pod, so I would be holding it up. Oh, thank you, Joshua. Thank you.
Oh, nice. I was going to pull it up.
Yes, Upon a Burning Throne. This is one where I can see why it may not connect to some readers because it is a slower moving, kind of more. It's not dense writing because I'm not a big fan of dense writing, but it's a lot more focused on like the world building and a lot of the setting and the atmosphere, and it's very unique. It's an Indian inspired epic fantasy series that's based on the Indian myth, the Mahabharata. So I haven't read the original epic, which I've heard is great. So I might, but I also don't think it follows it too closely. Like it's inspired by it, but it kind of takes a little bit of leeway with some of the story. And it's very political, but all of the characters were like so well executed, and the politics was so interesting, and the magic and the creatures. I just thought it was so unique and so unlike anything else I'd ever read. And it kind of is nice to not read, the typical like Western setting fantasy book, because we get a lot of those. So it was really cool to like read something totally different and unique. And it has like a really low rating on Goodreads. And I'm like, I mean, it's slow, but like, like there's lots of slow fantasy books that have amazing ratings. Like, why doesn't this one have a little bit better of a rating? But anyway, so I really liked it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I still really enjoyed it. So I think that one deserves a little bit more love.
It does have. I remember looking. I'll look it up now to see because I think
it has less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads.
Yeah, I was gonna say
weird because I mean, and I feel like everyone I've seen read at least that first book in that series, like really likes that first book.
I don't know why it just I don't know. I've seen
3.46. 3.46. That's one of the lowest average ratings I feel like I've ever seen.
Right? I know.
For a, not like a joke book or
exactly.
something that has tons of drama around it or something.
Right. I know. I'm like, why doesn't this have? So yeah, maybe I'm missing something, but I
think it's not totally uncommon with something that's a retelling of some sort where people can sometimes be kind of picky, because I've seen that with Greek mythology retellings too.
Yeah.
Where people, and I think I'm not sure what the average rating is. I think it's pretty high, but I've seen some people feel that way about KKE, where
like if you take any sort of like liberties with the story and kind of veer off from like the original, like that
people
could
be like pressure on it a little bit if they're familiar with that.
I mean, that one does have a good average rating, but I think there are certain areas where it's now put on banned lists, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh wow,
really?
That's so interesting.
Yeah, I actually ended up messaging the author because she was sharing the stuff on her Instagram stories, and I was like, I thought it was great. And we chatted a little bit, and she was really sweet. So I feel bad because she seems like the nicest person.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, that makes sense that could happen, but yeah, maybe that's why. Because I just, like I said, I haven't seen a lot of people talk about that book either, about Upon a Burning Throne, but the ones that I have seen, I feel like they've all given it like at least 4 stars.
Yeah, like I really enjoyed it. I think
the covers are so pretty too.
Yeah. Oh my god.
The sequel.
I wish they had all come out in hardcover. They stopped printing them in hardcover for the sequels, so now they don't match. And like the spines of the second and third paperbacks don't match at all. And it's like, oh my god, they are really pretty covers. So
why can't the spines match? That's the worst. I hate it.
Oh well.
I feel like the one I'm thinking of for this is this one, Son of the Storm. Ooh. It has like a 3.6 or something like that. And I really liked it. I've seen some people like feel about it. I don't feel like I haven't seen very many people read it. I think. But the ones I have, I don't think I've seen anyone hate it. But like I've seen people feel kind of about it or have like issues with it. But I really liked it. I think I gave it 5 stars. Like I loved it. I thought it was so great. I can't wait. The sequel comes out this fall.
Yeah, I have it. I'm planning on reading it this year.
Yeah, it's like a 3.6 or 3.7, which isn't like terrible, but like could be
That
better.
is
In my opinion, I think it
kind of
should
low
be better.
for Goodreads. Yeah. Huh, interesting. Yeah, I've only seen you rave about it. I haven't seen anyone like negatively review it, so that's surprising to me.
I just looked up to see the, because I liked The Stardust Thief. It has a 4.07 average rating.
I thought it was cool, but then I unhauled it because I was like, I don't think I'm ever gonna read this again because I don't remember basically a single thing from the story.
You liked that one though, right, Elle? The Stardust Thief? Yeah, okay.
I did.
Yeah, I think I gave it like a 3.5 or 3.75 when I read it. It just was one of those that with time I was like, yeah. But it was cool.
That's still pretty good for you though. I feel like
and I think I'm gonna pick up the sequel just to see like how I feel about it because I liked it well enough.
You don't get 5 stars very often, so I feel like a 3.75 is like really good for you.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty
like a good solid read. Yeah.
It is interesting to see some people how differently they feel to a 3-star than another person feels to something they give 3 stars.
Yeah.
That's
I know. Like
that could be like a whole own video, like the rating.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. I've seen people talk about like 2 stars being like, this is like a perfectly good book to me. I'm like, if I give something 2 stars, that's like I
really didn't
like this.
It's
like pretty negative for me. It's very funny.
I mean, this is no surprise, I feel like, to anybody who watches me, but I think Engines of Empire needs to be much higher. I'm confused why it's not, because it feels like the book that the demographic, it seems like, would really like this and rate it really high. So I'm surprised that it's not terribly low or anything, but it seems like something that should be much higher. I read because it came out around the same time as not Tyranny of Faith, the first one, Justice of Kings,
which I'm reading right now. It's so good.
Oh, it came out around the same time, and I liked both, but I liked this one more. And Justice of Kings, I mean, they're quite different, but they still, I feel like, are for a similar demographic. Or at least I would expect, that's kind of the target audience. And Justice of Kings has a quite high rating, and this one is significantly lower. And this one has a lot fewer too.
Yeah, I just was looking it up. It only has 665 ratings.
Wow.
That's pretty low for like an Orbit fantasy release.
I know. I don't know why. I don't know if maybe the marketing didn't get as much in marketing money or something or what, but Justice of Kings also has I like this cover. Justice of Kings I feel like has like a striking cover that kind of, even if you don't like it, it draws you in. And it makes you at least curious enough to pick it up and look at it. I think there's something to, I mean, I'd be very curious if they were to do a study in the US at least for Orbit, the books that they end up releasing in hardbacks versus the books that go straight to paperback, if there's some kind of connection to how many more people are likely to pick up the hardbacks or something. I don't even think though, because if you go to Barnes and Noble at the front, it'll say new fantasy and they'll have the new fantasy books at the front, as well as, new fiction, new nonfiction, whatnot. I don't know if I ever saw this over there. And again, I don't know if it's because they tend to keep the nice hardbacks or like the popular releases that they know people are going to probably pick up. I don't know. But I feel like it was good.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's another one I have. It's so funny. You both are like dictating what I buy for my shelves because I bought Son of the Storm when I saw you rave about it, Shoshana, and I bought Engines of Empire because of you, Elle. So I have both of these.
And didn't you just buy? You just got the Final Strife, didn't you?
I did just get the Final Strife. I swear, my whole shelf is just like Shoshana and Elle.
You know what's funny is Shoshana and I was about to say Shoshana and Elle, and I'm like, I'm Elle, but the two of us like rarely have overlap in what we really like.
You guys both have overlap for me very often where I'm like, if one of you likes it, I'm probably
That's so funny.
Sounds like
the
you're
middle.
Just easy to please, Jesse.
You're the in between on the spectrum of like Shoshana. There's Jessie.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing is you're like the perfect channel for recommendations.
Yeah.
Everybody go subscribe. I mean, subscribe to Sean as well, but really quick, I want to look at the remarks here. Library of the Dead. Oh, nice.
Right? Yeah, I have this one and I'm excited because I've heard that it's cool. But I've heard weird things about the sequel, that it's not very good or like kind of garbage, like to the point where I've had people be like, don't even read the first one. You're going to be so mad when you read the second one. I was like, what?
Oh, no.
I still kind of want to check it out. And it's pretty short. I mean, it's kind of a big, but
Speaking of books with the word library in them, Shoshana, what was that one library of the, not Lost, I don't think.
Library.
Oh, what is it called? I don't think so. There's too many books with the name. They have pretty covers, and I remember being at the bookstore with you, and you were saying like you've always wanted to try that series or something. But you ended up never getting
the Genevieve Goodman ones or whatever. Is that the one? Yeah.
Yep.
It's like the Invisible Library.
Yes, I think that's right.
Yeah.
That one seems to have very mixed reviews because I've seen there are from various different, I don't know, publications or something where it was voted like best book of the year. And then you look at, not that Goodreads is, the same, but you look at Goodreads and the ratings are kind of lower, but I haven't read it. I feel like if somebody had read it, it would be an interesting one to bring up here. Really quick because of our star ratings.
Oh, yeah.
1 equals read 100 pages in DNF. 2 equals wish I had DNF.
That's about
3 equals I enjoyed reading it, and that is about it. 4 loved it. 5 this book changed my life. The same as a reader. I think that's a good scale.
That's pretty good. That's about how mine is. I use quarter stars and crap, but like that's right about where mine is. I'm trying to be less stingy with my 5s and have my 5s just be like maybe not life changing, but maybe it's close.
Yeah.
Because keeping it to like only life changing, which is what I always was doing. I'm like, I hardly ever give out 5 stars because I'm just so like, is it life changing though? I don't know. And then I second guess myself. So I'm trying to be better, but that's about how mine is.
I read a book recently that I keep thinking I DNF'd it, and I didn't. I read the whole thing. I didn't really care for it. And in my head, I keep going
like part of it
in my reading notebook where I keep track of what I've been reading. I always go to write it under DNF, and I'm like, I didn't DNF that. Let's see. Helm of Midnight has good reviews, but barely anyone has read it, and I'm not sure why it didn't pull up. It's so good. I have that one, so I'm glad you said that because I've heard it's really good.
Yeah, I really want to read that. I want to do like a fantasy horror.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
That cover is like, it looks like weird.
Creepy.
It's creepy. And apparently
it's like a horror cover.
Horror-esque, and I really want to read it. Yeah, I've heard it's great.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Let's see. I rarely give out 5 stars. The book needs to be living rent-free in my head.
That's fair.
Yeah. I feel like 5 stars for me, like, I try to, if it gets like, if I have like a real emotional reaction, that's probably going to be like a 5 star. Like if at some point I was tearing up in the book or like getting like, oh my God, all in my feels, then I'll give it 5.
I feel that way. It's always weird when you feel really strongly about something in a book, but then other parts you hate and you're just like, why?
Yeah, this is confusing. I don't know what to do with
I want to look at what does the sequel look like for this one?
Yeah,
it's cool. It's really cool.
Oh, The Cage of Dark Hours. Oh yeah,
I'll bring it up on the screen, and then we'll go back to saying underrated.
I mean, we're talking about them,
Let's see.
Chat.
Yeah, it is even creepier, Maggie. I love it though. I
feel like the first one's creepier just because it takes me a second to like, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
It looks like a shellfish kind of thing at first to me. I'm like, is this a lobster? What am I seeing? Like, it looks so weird. And my eyes take a minute to adjust.
That's awesome. I think that's great.
Well, returning to our topic here, what's just a underhyped, underrated book? Doesn't have to fit into any kind of particular.
Okay. This series, I don't know why more people don't love it. I'm looking at you. I'm just kidding. The Jasmine Throne and the Oleander Sword, like they're so good. They're so good. The 3rd book is coming out, and I just feel like obviously not everyone's gonna love it. Oh hey, obviously not everyone's gonna love it, but like I just don't see people picking it up. And I'm just like, but why though? It's like everything I would think, again, like the community, the fantasy reading community that like I'm, the corner of booktube that I live in. Like, I feel like this is something that so many people would really, really love and be interested in. I don't understand why.
I almost purchased it again because I've told you I didn't DNF it because I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I just kind of got to a point where I was like, I just don't feel like engaged. But sometimes when that happens, I am like, well, maybe there was stuff going on that was distracting me, or what I mean? And I couldn't give it my full attention. I mean, I felt like I was giving it my full attention, but every now and then I'm like, maybe I just need to give that one another go. So that's probably what I'm going to do with that at some point. I saw it at Bookman's in hardcover. I almost got it, but I didn't.
Yeah.
But
I plan on picking that one up because of you.
Yes.
From what I read, it does seem like one a lot more people would read because it's interesting world building. It's interesting,
unique,
familial situations.
Yeah, and like the politics of it as it goes on. The first book is very slow, so I mean, maybe people just heard that and like don't pick it up because of that. But like where the politics go, like epic stuff happening and more magic. It's so great. Oh yeah,
Shauna, you liked the first one.
I read the first one and I liked it, and then I just never continued with the series.
Oh my gosh, it gets better and better.
Yeah, I always plan to. I feel like I need to just reread the first one now though, because it's been like 4 years since I read it. So that's my plan, is just to like
it gets better. Like the first book I gave 4.5 stars still. I loved it. But I thought the next 2 books were 5 stars. Oh, I mean, I'm not very stingy with my 5 stars. I kind of think about 5 stars. But I love the Grey Coats. And I was actually thinking about seeing this one, Christy, so I'm glad you brought it up.
Good.
I'm one of those people that did not care for it.
Yes, there are like
Leanna's not here.
There are weird scenes. I'm not gonna lie. For me, it didn't like ruin the whole experience. Yeah, but I don't blame you if it was weird. And
I don't think those scenes ruined it. I already was kind of. I didn't. But the thing is, I don't hate Grey Coats. Like some people passionately hate. Like if Leanna was here, I feel like she would. Like But I'm surprised too because it has that very fun, adventurous feel to it.
Yeah. That's what I thought. I thought it was a lot of fun and like
I
don't know, I thought the characters were cool.
Like it definitely like has a fun adventure type quality to it, but then like really dark stuff also happens, like very, very difficult scenes to read.
Yes.
That I feel like I hadn't really heard about when I was going into it. People talk about kind of how heavy it was. I heard like how fun and swashbuckling and adventure. There's like really bad like torture scenes and like really like heavy. I don't think I could say it on this channel, but like please check content warnings. It's
like, I think that's why even with the first one, I think that might have been part of it because we've talked before about that. In between is kind of hard to hit, where you have both that fun campiness and then you have the really serious dark stuff. And if you're going to do both, I weirdly think I'm pickier than if you just did one or the other. But if you can do both really well, then it's basically a favorite, right? But it's hard to find that
the balance. Yeah I can see that
because I think like the Final Strife, I think that was why I didn't love it as much as Shoshana, because like aspects of the characters and how they talk and how they feel about things felt a little more youthful, but then there would be like these really grotesque, horrific things happening. And so I think my brain I'm just very picky with that.
Compute. Yeah.
No, I have a feeling you'll like it a lot though.
Final Strife?
I think so. It's very slow to start. Okay. Just be warned.
Okay. What's funny is I didn't think it was that slow. That's I feel like Shoshana's
maybe it's another thing like what was going on with me in my life at the time, which I don't remember what, but maybe something was, because the first time I read it, the first 30% literally took me a month and a week to read 30% of that book. And then once I got to that point, I read the rest of it in like 4 days. Okay. And then the second time I read it, I read through it like in a few days, the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
gotta pick
I don't
it
know
up.
if I just was struggle busting it there because it was like it was like 39 days or something.
Oh my God.
And then you
Something
immediately
silly.
read it again.
Yeah, and then like as soon as Elle and Ingrid were like, we're gonna read it, I was like, okay, me too. Let me read it.
Haven't you read it 3 times total?
No, I only read it. No, did I reread it?
I could have sworn you'd read it again at some point.
No, I
But
didn't. No, I did not. I went back and like searched for stuff in the ebook when I was reading the Battle Drum to search for clues for things, but I didn't actually read it.
I don't think that people have disliked this next thing by any means, but it seems like it went under the radar, and that's Cindy Williams Chima's new book, Children of
Yeah, it
Ragnarok.
really did.
Go under the radar. Yeah.
Because I feel like nobody, it doesn't help that it came out around the holidays, because most of the time people are kind of, I know some people like to read a lot, cozy vibes and things like that around the holidays, but I don't see a ton of people picking things up that are newer around the holidays. And so, especially because this doesn't really have that cozy feel the way that I think a lot of people like around the end of the year, but she's kind of a booktube darling, I think, from her Seven Realms series. Or maybe it's just that a lot of the people that read Seven Realms are older, and so now they're not attention. But I really liked it.
It's not
think
such a
if you
beautiful
like,
cover.
yeah, I
it
think
is
if you
really
like Seven Realms, that you would like this series too.
I
'Cause
feel
it's
like I'm
similar.
like I had it on my list initially of my like anticipated releases, and then I kind of took it off. And I don't know if I just got like, I don't know, burned from the Shattered Realms series
Oh yeah.
that I was so all over the place with. Like the first 2 books, I was like, yeah, they're cool, they're fun, I like it. And then the 3rd book was like 5 stars. I loved it. And then the 4th and final book, I was like, what in the frick is this? Like, I was so annoyed with the ending and like the finale of the series. And then I didn't love that one, the Warrior Air series she had.
Oh, I
read
know.
the
I
first
never.
book. Yeah, I read the first book and then I think I DNF'd the second one and like gave up. So I feel like I'm just like, I don't know. Like I love the Seven Realms series. I've reread it a couple times. But I feel like I just was like, do I care that much about that one? I don't know if I do. But then yeah, I never saw it like talked about really ever other than you.
It is, yeah, it is surprising with how popular her other series are.
Mm-hmm.
That one didn't get more attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has 674 ratings.
That's very low.
Crazy.
I think that's really surprising. And I'll look up the first book in Seven Realms to compare.
Oh, yeah. Geez.
74,000. So
yeah,
I would expect there to be at least some.
So weird.
There is I've noticed that some of the more popular, not necessarily like the Sarah J. Maas's level popular or Cassandra Clare, but some of the previously popular YA authors don't seem to be as popular now. Like when they get new releases, it feels like they're not getting any publicity. Because I get that she's gone back and forth between YA and adult, but Veronica Roth's releases, I feel like never get a lot of attention anymore.
Yeah,
and I liked which I mean now I don't know when the sequel is, if it's ever coming out, but the Chosen Ones.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like my favorite thing I ever read, but it was cool. Like it was a really cool concept, and I thought it was like executed well. I liked the book and I liked the characters. I just wasn't obsessed with it. But I was like, oh, I'll read the sequel. But it's been like a couple of years now, and I haven't heard.
Maybe too many people got burned by Allegiant.
Like, yeah, maybe.
Well, yeah. Poster Girl, I thought was not the best, and it would seem other people think so too because it has a 3.68.
Oh, I read that novella. What the frick? I just read it. Her novella that came out, what is it called? Arch Conspirator.
Oh yeah.
And it's like an Antigone retelling, and a lot of people are like irritated that it's not a good enough retelling or not close enough, or I don't know, but I am not familiar with Antigone. So I was like, oh, that was cool.
I feel like that could also be a whole other video topic of how much do we care how similar it is to, because people get really passionate about things
about retellings
like that.
Yeah.
I pretty much don't care at all.
Yeah, I don't.
Do whatever you want. It's a retelling. That's usually my stance.
Yeah.
Jesse, what's your next?
My next thing, I'll channel Leanna since she isn't here, and I'll shout about The Wolf by Leo Carew.
She would be so happy.
Because honestly, this one I was kind of surprised to see it had it's like around 2,000 ratings, I think. And this one, the whole trilogy is now out. So if you like the first book, you can keep going. But I think I know about it. I knew a lot about it going into it because of Leanna, but I feel like if you don't follow Leanna, you would know nothing about this book. I don't really see anyone else talking about it outside of her. And it's one where the series is hard because if you don't love the first book, you may not be motivated to continue on. But the next books improve so much upon the first book. And by the time you get to the third book, it is incredible. Like just top tier fantasy. It's so great. But like that first book is definitely the weakest. So that's tricky trying to rope in new readers, especially since this is this author's first series that he's done. So I would say The Wolf is also tricky because it reads more like historical fiction almost, where there's nothing very fantastical about the world. It's essentially just reimagining our own world as if Neanderthals had kind of evolved alongside humans and we kind of coexisted, and what that would look like if we went to war with one another. But it's very like military heavy. It's very political. And I really like it because none of the characters are necessarily the heroes or the villains. You kind of see both sides of it, of this big war that's impending. So I really love this series, especially the books 2 and 3. But because the first book is the weakest, I can see why it's harder.
What did you
get.
What were your feelings on the first one besides just, I mean, I know you're saying that you think it's the weakest, but how did you feel about just that first one? Were you kind of underwhelmed, or were you sold already?
Well, I don't often have similar thoughts as Leanna on a lot of books. So when I went into it, I was not expecting to really enjoy it. I was kind of like, I'll give it a try, but I'm not expecting to love it. And I ended up giving it 4 stars. I was like, this is really good. Like, I don't love it, but it's really good and I want to continue on. I thought that there were like pacing issues with the first one, and I didn't like love the characters yet. But by the time you get to the second one, it just improves upon everything that I didn't like about the first one. So yeah, 4.5 stars for the sequel, and then 5 stars for the third book was kind of my rating, like just a little stairway of ratings. So
a little side quest here. If a book is a fantasy retelling, I don't mind how different it is. However, I want historical fiction to be as accurate as possible. I think that's definitely fair, and I think a lot of people share that feeling. Man, some people rip historical fiction apart when there's an inaccuracy. I remember Jade read The Gilded Wolves, I think it's called, and they mentioned a zipper. She was like, I don't think they had zippers yet. She was like, she just couldn't get it out of her head.
Yeah, I don't pay any attention to that kind of stuff.
I think
if it was a historical fiction written in like, oh, we're in the 1700s and there's like, oh, here's a car, I might be like, what? Huh? But like, other than obvious like things like that, I don't know when crap was invented. I have no idea.
Same. I would never notice those details.
Like, sure, sounds.
Yeah, I think it depends on how egregious of a clearly from a
how well known or like commonly known
century
this historical fact is or whatever.
And then I don't mind retellings. I majored in classics, and as far as Greek and Roman mythology retellings go, I think as long as the core themes of the tale remain, it's fine to change things a lot. I think that's fair too. I think what's interesting is when people take the themes and then they kind of shift it because they're like, well, let's look at it from a modern lens. Like I think Electra by Jennifer Saint, that was her name, right? I think she's done that with both Electra and Ariadne. And I think what I was talking about with KKE earlier, where it's like, well, maybe these stories had certain views at that time because of how people viewed things. So if we take how we view things now and then apply that, how might we see this character now through a more modern lens? I think that can be interesting, but not that was like a going against what you're saying here, But if there's anybody to be picky, I feel like it's you because you actually know. Man, that's like when I watched the movie Tar, which I hated. I was just like, this is not accurate. I was going crazy watching that movie. Do either of you even know about Tar?
Yeah, it's like she's a composer, right? Or something in the movie.
Conductor.
Yeah,
Conductor. Yeah, but there's some moments where I'm like, no, oh my gosh, this would never happen. And I was just going insane over little things. But I also thought it was a bad movie, just in general. But we don't need to get into Tar. I was so glad.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I was so glad it like didn't basically win anything at the Oscars.
You're like celebrating.
I mean, I feel bad saying that, but I'm like, I mean, I didn't really like any of the movies I saw that were Oscar nominees, but I especially was like, I just don't want Tar to win. Anyway, sorry, go ahead, Sean.
No, you're fine. I was gonna say when Jesse was talking about The Wolf, like because I didn't like the first one, but like to a degree where I'm like, I don't want to.
Yeah, you like flat out did not.
I
like
gave
the
it
first one.
2 stars, and in my review, I said I didn't necessarily hate read this book, but about 40% of the way in, I was over it and probably would have DNF'd if I hadn't already DNF'd 2 books in January. I was determined to finish this book.
I definitely didn't like it as much as Deshauna. I wouldn't even say I disliked it. I just didn't love it. So I don't know. Maybe in the future I would give that series another try.
Yeah, I think it's something where if it was like, yeah, I liked that, then continue on. But if you were very like no or like very average about it, I don't know if it's going to improve
enough.
I think I was very average.
Like, yeah,
I didn't wish I DNF'd it by our rating from earlier. It wasn't a 2 for me, but it was very much just like I read that book. Mask of Mirrors that's getting brought up here. I really liked. I think Shauna. I think you'll love it. I really liked the first one. The second one, I don't know. There are aspects of it I thought were really cool, but the characters to me, like their personalities, almost shifted depending on what chapter I was reading. And I don't know if it's just in my head or if it has to do with the fact that they're all kind of trying to be manipulative and kind of trying to present themselves a certain way. But then there's also part of me that's like, it is written by multiple authors. So I'm just a little nervous that it might be that when one author wrote something that maybe they wrote it a certain way and then that's why it clashes a little bit. But the world is so cool and the magic is so interesting. So I agree with that. It's not like a permanent, I'm never going to try it for that third one. But I agree that it's kind of what Deshauna was saying about the Oleander Sword is the second one, right? What's the Jasmine Throne?
Yeah.
It's like what you were saying where I'm surprised more people haven't picked it up.
Yeah.
Jesse, have you read that one?
No, but I own it. Probably because of you. Because of you. Yeah, I need to read it.
I have that one on ebook, but I haven't picked it up yet.
Another book that I just think deserves a little more love and that people would have a lot of fun with would be Monsters We Defy.
Oh yeah, I just read this one.
Yeah, it's so it's historical fiction fantasy and historical fiction in a time I don't usually see for historical fantasy. And then it's kind of, I always describe it as like a cozy heist feel because of the way they all kind of come together. I just really liked the way that she wrote the characters as you're getting introduced to them and their interesting magic.
I almost like wanted her to have more chapters from each character's perspective, the way she introduced them with their backstories. I thought like that was so well done. I was like, I want more of that. I agree. It has a very like cozy heist feel. And I really liked the curse magic, like how it kind of manifested itself in different ways depending on the person and kind of like their personality or their habits or something. Like it kind of, their curse would manifest in a different way for them.
Did you feel so much for the one that had to do with the memory?
Oh my gosh, yes. That was so sad.
I'm like, oh, I want to cry. It's so sad.
Yeah. I ended up giving that one 3.5 stars because I just wanted more of like the character development because that was like my favorite stuff was seeing like their backstories. And then they had like a couple scenes where the group was together, but I just like wanted more of that. But it was still like fun. I would definitely recommend that one. It is like a cozy heist story.
Yeah, it's not like I guess to that, again, referencing our scale earlier, it definitely didn't change my life. And I wouldn't say living up here. But it was just a good time. It was
Yes.
it was a good time. And I'm surprised more people haven't picked it up.
Yeah.
But I also really quick just want to say I feel like a lot of people would like The Art of Prophecy. It's silly. I almost DNF'd it because it was especially silly at the beginning with some of the humor and stuff. But once I was like, okay, I just have to accept that it's leaning into a little bit cheesy. And then after that, I was fine. And there's still a few scenes that even for me, I'm like, that's too cheesy. But it was still a lot of fun. I liked the world and I liked the mentor character. I thought she was awesome. If this was adapted, I mean, it needs to be Michelle Yeoh, right? Like,
Yeah.
it needs to be her. I mean, look at the cover. Just doesn't that? I feel like that's her.
Yeah, that's so cool. That is.
She would be perfect for it. Just yeah. Anyway, I thought it was kind of fun.
Yep. Another one I want to pick up because of you.
I think you'll like that one. I think you're gonna really like it.
I think I would too. I just need to get to it. Oh,
My next one is a young adult one, and the first book kind of leans like middle grade. The characters are like 14, yeah, 14. But T.J. Young and The Orishas by Antoine Bondelet. It's like magical school, but magical camp for kids, for magical kids, and it's in our world, but it's very like Percy Jackson, Harry Potter, like that kind of vibe as far as like kids. They live in a world where there are like the normies, like normal people, non-magical people. They're called clouded in this. And then there's like the secret magical like news station that like the magical people know about and can watch, and like their social networking that's just for the magical people. And it's so much fun. And then first book they're at camp and all the stuff happens. And there's different like per your culture. There's like your school is like here or there. So in the first book, we're in the United States where this kid is, but his parents, his mom is Nigerian. She's from Lagos. And in the second book, he's at the school there, the magical school there. And there's gods like talking to them and like almost like gods among us, kind of. But again, like Percy Jackson-esque, where like they interact with gods and like have to like do things and challenges and missions involving gods and things. So it's really fun. I like it a lot.
That sounds fun. I
was looking up, it only has 333 ratings.
Yeah, it needs way more. It's really solid.
It sounds really fun. I like this. I don't think it's done enough, but I think we do need more young adult where characters are that age.
Yeah, like this first book feels very middle grade, but like, and I don't typically like or read middle grade and like young adult. Like I often am like, ugh. And like they're acting like 14-year-olds, but like, I don't know, it just, everything felt very genuine. There's like the little friend group and they're so cute and fun, and their dialogue is like cute and fun kids just hanging out, being friends. And yeah, I just thought it was a really good time.
It's not underhyped, but you talking about the characters being roughly 14 made me think of A Wizard's Guide to Defensive Baking. And we need more. We need more of that age. Because I think, especially because publishing knows a large portion of the individuals who are reading young adults are adults. And then you also get the adults that are wanting more of like the steam and the romance. And so it feels like that's what everything is turning into basically an ACOTAR retelling.
Yeah.
And we kind of like that fun, wholesome, adventurous. Yeah. Can have serious moments too, but
yeah, as I say, this one in the first book, it's pretty light overall. It does touch on like serious things though. I mean, the start of it, the premise is this kid's sister has died, and in like magical reasons, perhaps, we don't know. And there's like some kind of secret society like trying to overthrow things and blah, blah, blah. And then in the second book, there is like kind of like death that happens. And then you see like the main characters like dealing with their grief and the trauma of like being literal 15-year-olds going through like some traumatic things and seeing people die. And I just thought it was really well done.
I feel like
I'm gonna read that one now.
the buzzword for me with middle grade is if it has like really strong friendships. Like
Yeah.
I love when middle grade leans so heavy into the friendship
Yes.
focus because it like brings me back to like how I would act with my friends
Yeah.
at that age. It's like so
Yeah.
cozy and so nostalgic. So I
Yeah.
love when there's like a good friendship focus. So I definitely want to pick that one up.
I need like a depressed 14-year-old who just goes to the library. That's what I did.
Oh my god. Killing me.
I just looked up the cover. This cover is so pretty for Ravenfall.
What is
Here,
it?
oh my goodness. Look at this cover.
Oh my gosh. How have I
How
never
pretty.
seen this?
Oh
I
wow.
really want to read this
That's
now.
so cool.
That is
Aw.
beautiful.
And Hollowthorn. Oh my god, that's so cute.
Halloween Town meets Supernatural. What?
Whoa.
I'm
Oh my
gonna go
gosh.
add this.
Okay,
to
well,
my-
I'm adding that.
Yeah.
Celtic
Amazing.
mythology. That sounds
Cute.
in with a personality. Oh.
I see a cat. I see a cat on a shoulder.
Cat-shaped
Oh.
guardian. Oh
Oh
my
Y'all,
my
we all
god.
need a buddy read this.
Yeah.
Because
Oh my
that sounds
gosh.
Wait,
so
can we?
fun.
That sounds great.
So cute and so fun.
What specific queer rep is in this? Just out of curiosity for anybody else that might be wondering. Oh, there's the kitty. Sorry.
Oh.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It's so cute. It's right there on the shoulder.
Oh my gosh.
Kaylin Johnson wrote Kaylin Josephson. Okay, never mind. I was thinking of different. Anyway, asexual. So the
Oh, that's
friendship
like a
reference to-
Alotsoe.
Aw.
Oh, this is the same author of the Storm Crow.
Okay, is it?
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. Yeah. I was like, why does that sound familiar? And I started to change. That's correct. Yes. Which I want to read that at some point too. Which it has not the best readings, but I was looking one day at the difference between a lot of my adult fantasy versus a lot of my young adult fantasy, and we are much harsher collectively on young adult than we are on adult.
I believe it.
Were there any more that you wanted to mention? I know we've been chatting for a bit.
I wanted to mention two, but they actually have okay ratings, but I just don't see that many people. As far as fantasy romance, where it's a very good blend, in my opinion, of the fantasy and the romance, where like it's definitely romance. Like if you hate romance, don't read these books. But if you do like romance sometimes and you like there to be like a real heavy fantasy element, this series, The Mages of the Wheel by J.D. Evans, it's self-published, and there's 3 in the like core series out, and then there's like a prequel that I haven't read yet. And it's like one of these where each book follows like a different couple, but they're all like intertwined and like know each other, and there's like an overarching thing we're going for here. And I just really like them. I feel like it's such a good blend. The political stuff that's going on, the magic's really cool. It's like elemental magic, and there's like super powerful people, and they're trying to bring them together to do some stuff, whatever. You can look up the premise, but I'm not describing it very well, but it's just such a good blend of it. And then recently I read the first 2 books in the Blood Grace series by Vela Roth, and they're chonkers, and they are so slow. Oh my good God. So slow burn. In the first book, like our characters don't even flirt until like 65% of the way in.
They're very like this is a romance book covers.
Yeah, yes, they are very extra romancy looking.
Look at us.
Like the clench, right? That's what that's called, the clench. When they're like, or clinch.
I always think that these covers, like the women, like always look a little like no. Stop.
Oh, God. Like she's about to pass out, and he's just like picking up. But they're really good. Like I thought the romance was so freaking adorable and so cute. And that series is following the same couple, to my understanding. The first 2 books have. So I'm fully bought into their romance, and it's like heavy political, and it's the coolest vampire like take on vampires I've seen, where they're basically like, I don't know, they're immortal and they can't go out in the sun and they have to drink blood, but they're like, the idea of death and pain and suffering is like abhorrent to them. They cannot stand like suffering and death and things. They don't kill, and they have like a blood union with every living creature. They can like they're basically like major empaths where they literally can feel other people's pain and stuff. And they're just like all about the peacefulness. And they're just these like lovely creatures, like basically angels. And then humans are being garbage.
Is this
But it's like
for Blood
heaven.
Mercy or Rain and Ruin?
That's Blood Mercy.
Blood Mercy.
That
Okay,
series,
okay.
yeah. And yeah, it's just really I really enjoyed it.
Oh,
As
wow.
far as having a lot of fantasy stuff, really cool fantasy stuff, and then also having heavy romance. So
Nice.
that's all I had.
Jesse, what are your final
Oh my gosh,
recommendations
final
for
thoughts.
today?
Oh man, I'll go back to the first thing that was underrated rather than underhyped, because this one's plenty hyped, but it doesn't have very good ratings, and I really liked it. An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Roger
Oh,
Smith.
I love an Enchantment of Raven. You know, it's
too?
weird. It does have a low average rating,
It has a
but I thought it
low-
was so cute. I remember vividly reading it in the pit orchestra, not during the performance, but during like intermission and whatnot, like just being like, I want to read my book. It's so fun and cute.
It's so like sweet and wholesome. Okay, I will say I can see why people don't like it, because it has insta love and it's short, so it's not like super developed, but like the messages and like the theme of like being human and how like the fae in this world can't make art, anything artistic, anything creative, they can't do because they don't feel a full range of emotions. Their emotions are very muted in this world. But then humans feel this huge range of emotions and they can make this beautiful art. So the fae rely on the humans to make all of their art for them. And like that message of like what it means to be human and like being able to like feel those emotions, and like yes, sometimes it's so hard, but like it results in such beautiful things. And like I loved all of that kind of like exploration of like
Her writing is really pretty in that one.
yes, like the curse but the blessing of like feeling what we feel and being human. And I liked the little romance. I thought it was so cute. So
I thought it was cute
I thought it
too.
was so cozy and sweet.
I never
think
tried
that-
that one.
I think when it first came out, it was probably one of the first books that had similarities to A Court of Thorns and Roses, because I've seen a fair amount of negative reviews that are like, so let me get this straight. They live really close. Sorry, I shouldn't do that voice.
Heavy Stark.
But they live near the Fae. There's like humans and then the Fae. And the fact that she's a painter and, you know, like Feyre likes painting. And, and you're like, yeah, I feel like that's it, though. That's kind of where the parallels
The similarities end.
But it's more fairy tale like. It's more kind of wholesome and sweet than A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yeah,
so I think it's
I think I never picked that one up because I read A Sorcerer of Thorns. I picked that one up
very
first.
different.
And I didn't, I was like, I mean,
I
this is
didn't like that
cool,
one.
I guess. I just wasn't that into it. And so then I just never picked up an Enchantment of Ravens.
Yeah, Deshauna, I didn't like Sorcery of Thorns. I actually DNF'd to that one. So maybe you'll still like an Enchantment of Ravens.
Okay. Well, that's promising then. Because, that one I just was like, sure.
Jesse, have you seen the French cover?
No.
Oh.
Oh my God.
Oh, Wayne.
And
Are
then-
you serious? Are you
Fancy.
serious? That is
And then
beautiful.
on wait,
Is this your
Shoshana would
editions
love-
video?
I don't have an editions video for this one, but Shoshana, are you ready?
Oh my God.
The
Oh,
And
it's
then
so pretty.
They have the original cover art
Oh my
on
God.
the inside.
It's so pretty.
Oh,
pink
and then
is almost
I know you just said, hold on, I know you just said that you don't care about Sorcery of Thorns.
but I do
But-
care about pretty covers.
Oh.
so-
But here's
Oh my gosh.
and then on the back with Silas the cat.
Oh, I did like Silas. I remember from that.
I think
That
that
was,
she
like, the only
might, based
thing.
off of the novella that came out, I'm wondering if she's going to write a series following Silas.
Silas. Oh, interesting.
And then also it matches when you take, it's got the same like look
I
love that color.
as the other one. And it's got I like deckled pages. I know some people
I do
hate them.
too. I love deckled edges.
That is so pretty. Those are
That's
beautiful.
I originally wasn't
you
going to get
keeping-
Vespertine because it's the same cover, but I'm like, oh, but the naked hardbacks. And then this one, they went extra fancy because even the inside of the sleeve.
Mm.
Are
Wow.
those special editions, or are those just the standard
French
French
editions?
editions?
I think they're just the French edition.
God, they're just living it up with the.
Okay, you know who gets the best editions is Poland. Poland always has cool editions. Have you seen the one for Babel?
I saw but you showed them doing was it Witcher that you showed, or was it
Oh,
the Spinning Silver? It was Spinning Silver,
Yes.
I think.
So good.
Polish edition, which was
They're always
super
great.
cool.
Sorry, I'm like shouting at you. I'm going to show you the
They're amazing.
Babel one. Look at the one for Babel. What the heck?
Oh my gosh, that's so
Oh
cool.
wow!
It's
Wow,
so cool.
you sound like Owen Wilson. Wow.
Yes, that's what I'm going for.
Yeah, I love it.
Wow!
Wow.
Isn't that a great cover though? Specifically I don't know what the text says, but this
Oh my
one
gosh.
here.
Yeah,
That is
that's
beautiful.
that art is so cool. Wow.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Okay, I gotta put these back now. And then Jesse, do you have any more?
Yeah, I think that's it. I really didn't prepare much, did I?
I mean, we had plenty to talk about as per usual, so
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
never a
indeed.
shortage of words.
I always am thrown off because foreign editions have the text going the opposite direction. So to make it not look like it's upside down, I turn it upside down. You can't see. Oh my gosh, where are they? They're back here. You can't see them. But because on the spines, it will say it the other direction. So then I'll flip it upside down. And then when I pull it off the shelf, I'm like, oh, I had it upside down. And then I sit down and I forget. But it's really common in other countries. Speaking of covers, just really quick, who else hates the new Shades of Magic cover?
What is it?
Yeah, I
don't think I've seen it.
I wish it matched the originals. The originals were so cool.
Well,
Like they're redoing all of them?
Yes, that's the thing. Is they're redoing the original. I agree with you. I would rather they keep it in the art style of the originals, but they are doing a new art style, and then they're redoing
All of them
covers to match. And I'm like, these are not as good. And I have done an editions video for Shades of Magic, and literally every other edition is better. So
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't understand. Why are we? Let's see.
Is it the ones with a person on the cover? With the blue? Oh yeah. Wow.
If you like, I know you can't see it very well in this shot, but if you like see it a little closer, it looks like I don't know. I'm not a fan. I don't mind the actual what is the new one called? A fragile thread of power. What is it?
Thread of light, threads of shade.
Fragile threads
What
of
is
power.
this?
The V.E. Schwab continuation series.
Oh God.
That's why
so
they're
much.
redoing the old covers so that they'll match this new. And like this one looks better, but like better than that.
The old art on it was like cool though. I thought I liked it.
I agree.
My
Very like unique, and
hope is that the UK ones will match the original UK covers style.
I just will never be over being annoyed with that third book.
Oh my gosh, I remember.
And God, I wish I had like kept. I mean, not really, because I unhauled them, but I had tabbed so many scenes where I was like, "What was the point of this whole scene?" There wasn't. Nothing happened. It was like a whole like, "Ooh, oh, tension," and then like, it's over, and like there was literally no point, and like, "Ooh, foreshadowing for something," and then nope, not actually. And I
foreshadowing
like,
for this new series.
That I was like, dude, it feels like there's gonna be more, but she's like not writing it yet, or like she's like alluding to it, but like that annoys me because finish this series and make everything in this series make sense. Oh my God. And then after I read it, someone was like, no, she is continuing it.
I think it was me.
I gave it 5 stars.
It probably was, and I was so annoyed.
What'd you say, Jesse?
I gave Conjuring of Light 5 stars.
I mean, I don't think I rated it super low.
Okay, but Jesse, Jesse, do you want to
Yes.
reread the trilogy with me?
I gave it 3
So that
stars.
we
Yes, because I don't
Buddy
remember anything. So
And then we can buddy read because the new one comes out in October.
Yes. So when are we starting?
There you go.
That would mean we're starting in July. Are you reading one
If
a
you
month?
wanted to do, we can whatever you want. You're the one having a child, so you're gonna be
Whatever
busy.
I want. Okay. Well, yeah, no, I'll let you know. Yeah, probably like one a month, maybe. I think I can do that.
Okay, we can see if the other Jessie wants to join because she likes
Yeah.
beach ball.
I gave the
The
first 2
Jessies.
books 4 stars each. And then the 3rd book I gave 3 stars and was like, no.
3 isn't that bad though.
No, it's
That's
not bad.
that
It wasn't terrible, but I just remember being so like every time I think of that book, I'm like, I'm just so annoyed.
3 means you
she
enjoyed
had
reading it, and that's about it.
Yeah, she had whole chunks of the book, like chapters, I feel like, where literally there was didn't move the plot forward. There was no character development. It was just there. And like,
I wonder,
okay.
reread. I've always wondered, because I read them so long ago, I've wondered how I would feel if I reread them. So I'm excited for that. But I'm also interested to see if I treat it as if it's not a completed trilogy and that next one is just book 4. I wonder if like I can report back to you and be like, okay, but it does feel like it's a next, like it's just
That annoys me just on principle.
I
Like
know.
write your trilogy and have it. Everything in that trilogy needs to be there for a reason in this trilogy.
I think that's totally fair. I think I cut her slack because her publishing journey was rough. Like she got kind of screwed over by publishing a fair amount. And so I'm like, let the woman do what she wants. And I think now that she's so successful, they're like, whatever you want.
Did you guys see the Lee Bardugo deal? She got like some crazy like 8-figure book deal from Macmillan to publish 12 books of basically whatever she wants over the next like
so like her rest of her career
of various genres, various age ranges, and they're just like, do your thing, girl, here you go. And I mean, all the authors on Twitter and stuff were like, heck yeah, that's amazing. And they were like laughing at the article.
Are you guys, you ladies, watching season 2 this week?
Oh yeah, that comes out, huh? Yeah,
right. Sure. Leanna and I, she should have just been here. We've mentioned her a lot. We're definitely both going to watch it, and then we're probably going to chat about it very soon after watching it. Yeah. So if either of you are going to devour that second season quickly and you want to join, you can join.
I hope to.
I will be devouring it. I'm not sold on Nikolai yet from the trailers. I'm
really?
Not sure. I'm not sure, but they've done so well with the casting for the rest of the characters. Like the casting is just amazing.
It's so good. My guess is that he's going to be slightly less annoying than he is in the books.
Yeah,
I love him in the books. He's like the only thing that saved that trilogy on that reread.
I did not like Mal in the books. I freaking love Mal in the TV show. How did they make me love Mal?
Oh, I love Jesper in the show, and I didn't love Jesper.
Love Jesper in the show.
I don't remember a lot of that duology because I read it so long ago, and I've never reread it because over time I just was like, I really liked it when I read it, but then just over time it's one where I'm like, I don't care.
I just hear Roger being like, I don't get it. Why does everybody think it's like so moving? he likes it well enough, but he just does not understand why people act.
I feel like that's how I ended up feeling over time. Is like, I mean, yeah, it's cool, but like,
we need Leanna and Roger to talk about Kaz Brecker. That's what we need.
So we've gone from underhyped, underrated to like, look at Lee Bardugo getting this enormous book deal.
The most hyped.
Yeah,
she has no hype issues.
Well, Jesse, I'll message you to let you know when we're probably. I think we're planning to do it very soon after, like potentially this weekend.
Okay, I might not
or like, or maybe like early next week or something.
Okay, maybe I might be moving. I'll let you know.
You might be drinking.
That too. You never know.
Anyway, this was very fun, and thank you for those of you who joined in and participated in the chat and gave your recommendations and whatnot. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's not like we talked about a ton of books, so we could easily do this again and try to have you two can come back on, of course, but we can maybe just try to get Leanna and Roger on. Roger was supposed to be here. He couldn't make it. He had something going on, but I definitely think it'd be fun to do this again in the future. But anyway, thanks everybody for joining, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.